Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Champions League Player of the Week pack on eFootball. I've already reviewed the regular Player of the Week pack. That video is live on the channel already if you want to check it out. As I mentioned in that video, I'll be reviewing the Tsubasa campaign free players as well. That'll be another separate video coming up over the next few days. So for this pack, as always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player. So you want to hear about particular players, click on the description. There'll be a link to take you straight to them. Again, we've got all 5 stars. We'll start with the lowest rated, and that is Hatate from Celtic. So, not the first time about Hatate in a Player of the Week pack. We've had 2 whole player versions previously. One was in the Champions League Player of the Week pack, one was in a regular one. This is the best, just about. There's not a lot of difference overall, but I'd say this one just about edges the other ones. He's a box-to-box this time though, so he's normally a whole player. They changed him to a box-to-box. They put his weaker foot accuracy up by 1. And yeah, like I say, slightly edges the previous Player of the Week ones, and there's only been 2 trainable versions of him. There's one nominating contract ages ago that was a 3-star. Obviously that's not as good. And there's one Celtic card which looks like it's a very old card. It's only got 6 levels on it, and that's nowhere near as good. So yeah, it looks like this is the best version of Hatate in the game so far. It's not amazing, but he's fairly tidy. He's got some qualities here. Passing is obviously the standout. 90 low pass before the game plan boost, and if we look at his skills, he's got one-touch pass and through passing, so he can certainly pass the ball. They've also added interception and fighting spirit, so he's got interception and fighting spirit. Those are new skills. They've taken away scissors feint. I think we can live without that. So yeah, soul control. He's got long range curler and long range shooting, so he's got shooting and passing skills. Outside curl is a nice one. He's got pretty good selection skills for a box-to-box. He's obviously a very attack-minded box-to-box though, because he's not great defensively. Even though they've added interception, I would make sure you got at least one other midfielder in there doing the defensive work. But going forward, he's okay on the ball. And like I say, he's got very decent passing. He's got shooting skills, but the finishing attribute is pretty low, so be careful. Don't ask too much with his shooting. He's not going to have a great shot on him. Attacking wear is a little bit on the low side as well. Pace is fine for a centre mid. Kicking power is good. That's going to hit 90 with maximum game plan boost. Not the strongest, but that could be lower. Balance is pretty decent. Stamina's decent as well. And unwavering form as well. So, yeah, like I said initially, he's only 92 rated. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be a top level midfielder. I think for most people, he's not going to get into your first team as such for divisions and so on. But if you rock a Japan squad, if you're a Celtic fan, this is the best version of Hatate we've had. It's a pretty tidy little card. This certainly going forward. He can get on the ball, he can pick a pass, he can create a chance for you. Just he's got 1 or 2 slightly weak areas. Obviously, attacking awareness, the finish isn't great. Defensively, not too strong. So it's not a top level card by any means. But as a version of Hatate, it's pretty neat. He's certainly got some passing ability on him. But yeah, outside of Celtic fans and anyone rocking a Japanese squad, as much as he's got some qualities, which he certainly does, on the whole, which is not quite the most amazing card, but certainly for the lowest rated card in the pack, and for a version of Hatate, it could be worse. He's a tidy enough little card. And before I forget, of course, he's Japanese, so he has a face scan. So yeah, not an amazing card, but it's a pretty neat one. It's the best version of Hatate that we've had, I think. And our goalkeeper, who is also our first boosted card in this pack. So we've got Justin Bijlow from Feyenoord. First time we've had a feature version of him in the game, and we'll just activate the booster straight away. And he's a pretty nice looking keeper, to be honest. So he's about 6'3", attacking goalkeeper. All his goalie stats are going to be around the 90 mark. Parrying won't quite hit 90, so it is over the 85 mark, but that's with the booster. So it doesn't. So you have that 85 mark where they start going up by 3 with the maximum boost. It has to hit the 85 mark before a booster takes it higher. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you. But basically that parrying is going to hit 89 with the maximum game plan boost, but all the other stats are going to hit 90 or higher. So yeah, not a massive difference with that one. Obviously 90, 89, same difference. The point being though, this is a good goalie. This is a really solid goalie. All the goalkeeper stats are going to hit 90 or be around about that mark. Yes, his jumping's been nerfed because it's a Player of the Week goalkeeper, but this is a really solid looking goalkeeper card. His distribution is not great, obviously not quite as good as Edison in the regular Player of the Week pack. And he doesn't have low punt or any other real passing skills, although long throw is nice, and high punt I guess is a pass skill, isn't it? But yeah, no low punt. But yeah, if you're not bothered about low punt, yeah, that probably won't bother you. For me, if a goalkeeper doesn't have low punt, I want him to at least have long throw, and he does have that at least. That does help having long throw. So yeah, not exactly gonna ruin the card not having low punt. Is a bit of a negative, but the most important thing with this guy, these goalkeeper attributes, this is a really strong goalkeeper card. They boosted his catching quite a bit from his GP card, and apart from that, he's just had a nice boost. And like I say, in a way, it's a shame that they're not all going to hit 90, but you can't have it all for a Player of the Week goalie who you could potentially get from a free spin. Otherwise, he might just cost you a few coins. Yeah, really solid. Again, there's no Dutch League challenge, so you'd only really be using this guy in divisions or in like the unlimited challenge, or maybe if you rock a Netherlands squad, or a final squad even. But yeah, this is a good goalie card. Like I say, with all these Player of the Week goalies, not on the level of the real kind of beefy legend ones these days, but for a Player of the Week goalie, I don't think you can really ask for a lot more. With his height, I think the reach is fine, the awareness is good, the reflexes are good, catching and parrying, certainly on A form, really strong goalie card. And even if he's not on A form, he can definitely do a job for you. So yeah, good goalie card. Not much more to say about it. And again, before I almost forget, as I always do, got a face scan. Yeah, I think you can do a lot worse than that. That's a good goalie. And next up we have Juan Cuadrado, who's at Atalanta these days. Still doing well at 36. Not playing too often these days though, but obviously did well enough to get into Player of the Week in this pack. Cross specialist has pretty much always been his play style, although for a time it was box to box. I think we had one feature version of maybe when he was at Juve when he was a box to box. And a few other trainables as well, but he's the rest of his cards I think been cross specialist. And there's not a huge difference between them, to be honest. They're all around roughly the same level. One of them goes, I think, 1 or 2 higher overall than the rest, but this is a decent one. They're all there's not a lot of difference between them. With this one, the main difference really is that he's got pretty good balance compared to his other cards. He doesn't normally have balance that high. I've had a version quite a while that's got like, I think mid-high 70s for balance. Balance does help. So that's pretty good that they boosted him a bit there. Looking at his GP card, looking at what else they boosted, they put a bit on his tight possession, his lofted pass, which is nice. That lofted pass now with the maximum game plan boost is hitting 90, very nice. His defending's been boosted a bit, acceleration, kicking power, his physicals, and yeah, like I say, the balance. I think the balance is up by about 10 points from his GP card on auto allocation. So this is a fairly nice version of Cuadrado. The attacking awareness is a bit on the lower side. It's a bit of a shame. You might be a bit disappointed with the finishing only being 65, but he's a cross specialist. That playing style, he's going to hug the touchline. He's going to be staying out wide for the most part, looking to get into positions to cross the ball. So the shooting probably isn't too important. Would like that attacking awareness to be a bit higher though. And then skill-wise, they've taken away flip-flap and they've given him soul control, one-touch pass, which is a nice addition, and they've made him a super sub. So this is a decent card. He's going to be decent on the ball, not amazing, but decent. He's got the passing as well as the crossing. His low pass isn't brilliant. It will hit 80 with the game plan boost. And with the one-touch pass and through passing, his passing won't be too bad, certainly for a wide man. But the crossing is the important thing. It's got a really nice cross on him. With the maximum game plan boost, hitting 90 for lofted pass. Curls in the 80s. Kicking powers right well up into the 80s. Got the pace. Reasonable on the ball. He's got much better balance than he normally does. Yes, the attacking awareness and shooting are a bit low, but for what he is, and it's clear what he is, if he's a cross specialist, so he's going to be the kind of player that you want in your team. If you like your wingers getting up and down the flank, getting crosses in, and if that's the kind of winger that you like, he could be very, very useful for you, especially as a super sub. Of course, he has his face scan. Yeah, a lot to be said for this guy. He's getting on a bit. Might be one of the last chances to get a decent Cuadrado card. Time will tell, but if he's your kind of winger, he might not be amazing. It might, he might not be quite as good on the ball as you like your wingers to be. You might want a bit more attacking, a bit more shooting. But for what he is, with his crossing ability and the pace he's got and the playing style, getting up and down that right flank, the ability to put crosses in for you, I think he could do a lot worse, especially as a super sub as well. You could bring him off the bench. He could do some real damage creating chances for you with his crossing. So yeah, it's a particular type of winger. And if he's not your type of winger, then he probably won't be your cup of tea. But if he is your kind of winger, it could be a very useful card to pick up. And now we have Eric Garcia. Came off the bench and scored a header for Barcelona in that crazy match against Benfica. I watched that. It's one of the best games I've seen in a long time. So he is in as a defensive fullback and a right back. He's normally a build-up centre-back, so they've switched his position, although he's got all those positions already. They've just switched which one his registered position is, and of course changed his playing style. They've also made him semi-proficient at right midfield, even though you can't position train these cards, so that's useless. He's been in Player of the Week once before in a regular Player of the Week as a build-up centre-back. He was a bit better as a centre-back than this one, at least defensively, but in other areas, and certainly in other positions, this card is better. There's an old trainable version from when he was he's still at Barcelona now, but I think it was before he went out on loan to Girona. that one is the best centre-back overall, certainly defensively, but it lacks skills, and this one's better in other positions again. And in the recent Barcelona pack, that one's a centre-back, of course, as well. The attributes are kind of shuffled around. He's worse as a right-back than this one, and as a DMF, really. But you can make him arguably a better centre-back. But this is a decent-looking version of Eric Garcia. In fact, there was the goalkeeper version of Eric Garcia as well, before I forget that one. If you train that one as a centre-back, he's basically identical to his GP card, though. So, yeah, no point comparing us to that one, but we'll compare him to his GP card. And if you compare him to his GP card, obviously it's a different position. They're giving him a different profile. If you train his GP card as a centre-back on auto-allocation, much better defensively, but not as good anywhere else. It's a similar story with the other trainable versions, really. And if you train his GP card as a right-back or a defensive midfielder, not as good as this one. So this is unless you want him to be a centre-back and to be really strong defensively, this is a very interesting version of Eric Garcia, but it's one of these cards where you look at the positions he's got, and the question is, which position is he good in? As a right-back, which is a position they've given him, is he quick enough? Not for me. As a centre-back, is he good enough defensively? No. As a defensive midfielder, I think for some people it could be decent there. It just depends on that left column. A lot of people on a defensive midfielder don't mind those attributes being around that level. If you think that's fine, he can get by defensively even if he's not the strongest. Certainly okay down the right. So as a defensive mid, you might think he's right there. Has he got the skills for it? Debatable. He probably needs 1 or 2 passing skills, maybe 1 or 2 defensive as well. Blocker. Yeah, I think it's just one of these cards where you got a few positions where you could play him and he could do a job for you, but I think ultimately he's not great in any position, really. He's one of these cards who maybe for the Spanish League Challenge to have him in your bench, just in case you need to bring someone on either as a right back or centre back defensive mid, just to do a job if you're really lacking options. Could be a useful one to have, but on the whole, like I said, I don't see him being that great in any position. He does have a lot more skills than he normally does. Certainly the trainable cards, he doesn't tend to have that many skills, but they've thrown in man marking, that's new. He's a super sub, of course, because he came on as a sub. What else they've thrown in? Fighting spirit, that makes sense. And of course, aerial superiority, that also makes sense, because he came off the bench and he scored a header. And yeah, he showed fighting spirit, I guess, helping him come back. So yeah, can't argue with those skills they've added, and he's got a pretty good selection, certainly compared to what he normally does. But as I mentioned, he is lacking blocker. So defensively, that's probably the one skill he's lacking. As a right back, he's a defensive right back, so he doesn't need crossing really. But as a defensive mid, he could do with 1-touch passing, through passing. So yeah, 1 or 2 skills lacking in any position, and certainly in terms of the attributes, he's a bit lacking in certain areas in any position. So it's not a terrible card. Could do a job in any of his positions, but I can't say he's particularly great in any position. It's just a card that might be useful for the Spanish League Challenge or if you rock a Barcelona squad. Outside of that, yeah, it's just not a great one in any particular position really. So yeah, not a terrible one, but not a great one either. And next we have Harvey Elliott. So we've got a whole player Harvey Elliott. He's normally a creative playmaker. They've changed it from attacking mid to a centre mid, and again they've given him a semi-proficient position. He's now semi-proficient at defensive mid. So yeah, that's useless because you can't position train these cards. We actually had a player of the week version of Elliott and a regular player of the week pack a while back. It was really similar, to be honest. Same positions. They do the exact same things with his positions and his playing style. Attributes only slightly shuffled around really, not a massive difference. Skills the same, you know, very, very similar card on the whole. So if you got that one, you might not really need this one. Trainable versions of Harvey Elliott, they tend to be a bit better on the ball. This is one of these cards where, of course, they've changed it from an attacking mid to a centre mid, so you know they're going to rebalance his attributes. So they've taken a bit away from his attacking ability, the technicals, made him a bit better defensively and stuff, which you might not want. I personally wouldn't. I still would be using this guy as an attacking midfielder. But that's what they've done on this one. But yeah, on that basis, like I say, the other trainable versions that we've had of Elliott, they tend to be a bit better on the ball, a bit more balanced as well when you auto allocate them, certainly. But this one does have very good finishing, and the defending's better compared to other versions. So pros and cons. The best trainable one was in a recent, I think a recent Legend Packs one, as long as that kind of dark green football in the background. Not so good as a centre mid, for the reasons I just explained. This one's better defensively and stuff, but as an attacking mid or as a right wing, better. So if you got that version, you got a better one. So yeah, pros and cons to other versions of Elliott. If you compare him to his GP card, like I say, they've boosted him in certain areas. The finishing's up, kicking power's up as well, his physicals and his defending, and his stamina. So they have made him more suitable as a centre midfielder. yeah, I mean, he's better than his GP card on the whole. He's a decent version of him. It's just a question of how you want to use him, because if you want him as a more suited to playing centre mid, you want a bit more defensive ability, great. But otherwise, I think most people would probably agree it'd be nice if they'd not, if they'd really honed in on the attacking attributes, because that's what I think most people want to focus on with Elliott. You want to get him on the ball, get him forward, and create chances. That's really what he's best at. Skill wise, they have given him long range shooting, first time shot, and super sub, and we've lost gamesmanship and acrobatic finishing. So a decent trade, I think. So rising shot, long range shooting, first time shot. His finishing is what, 80? Decent. So he's got a decent shot on him. One touch pass and through passing. Got pinpoint crossing as well. Outside curler's nice, and he's a super sub. Yeah, it's still a tidy card. So you compare it to other versions of him. Like I say, it depends on what you want from him. If you want him to be balanced out and have a bit more defensive ability, great. But you might prefer him to have kind of beefed him up in an attacking way. But obviously they're based him on the way he played and the role he had in the game, so you can't really complain, I guess. But it's a question of whether whether this is a version of Elliott that suits you compared to other versions. If you've got another version, if you don't have any version of Elliott, this is obviously a good one. They have beefed up his finishing for sure. So in terms of cracking in shots from long range, could be very nice. It's a shame his low pass isn't just one higher, because then you could get him to the 90 mark with your maximum game plan boost, but it's still reasonable. He's got one touch pass and through passing. He's fairly tidy on the ball. Attacking wares, that will go past 80 with your game plan boost. That marries up perfectly with the whole player playing style, as does the finishing. So I think most people would probably still play as guys in attacking mid, even though they changed him to a centre mid. He's still got attacking mid. With the whole player playing style, the fact that even with the boost to his defensives, he's still not strong defensively or physically, I think he's definitely going to be at his best as an attacking midfielder. And with the whole player playing style, getting into good positions, tidy on the ball, he can pass and shoot, could be pretty effective. And as for right wing, 81 speed, not for me, not the quickest. He's not a brilliant dribbler, but he is fairly tidy on the ball, and he's not the slowest either. So if you don't mind the lack of pace on a kind of inverted winger, you could play there without an active playing style, bear in mind. So that could be an option for you. He's got unwavering form as well. Of course, he has his face scan. That's an ancient face scan now. They need to update his hair, but yeah, the way they balanced him out as more of a centre mid than an attacking mid might not suit you, but unless you've got a better version of Elliott or one that suits you better, yeah, for some people this could be a pretty nice guy. He's certainly got some technical ability. He's got some end product. It might not be an amazing version of Harvey Elliott, but he's a very capable one, I think, especially as an attacking midfielder. So for a lot of people, it could be a pretty tidy card to pick up. And next we have another Rafael Leão card. We've had a lot of Rafael Leão cards in this game. So he's a prolific winger. That's his normal playing style. Normally when he's in Player of the Week, he gets a different playing style. We've had a few. We've had whole players and creative playmakers. I've got a roaming flank legend version of him. He's a prolific winger this time. If that's your kind of playing style, this might be a good version of him for you. There have been a lot of versions, like I say. They have put his weaker foot accuracy up by 1. Yeah, that's about it. That's all they've really changed in terms of his overall profile. Comparing it to other versions of him, this looks like one of the higher rated ones. There's been a couple of whole players that are decent and a creative playmaker. Those ones, along with this one, are probably the joint highest rated out of all the Player of the Week cards. They do tend to shuffle the attributes around a bit. Sometimes a bit better on the ball, sometimes better passing. But it's if you've got a good version of Leão, you probably don't really need this one. It might just come down to the playing style and whether they've just maybe increased certain attributes that are important to you compared to other ones. But again, Rafael Leão, unwavering form. You got to be on the wind up, Konami. Come on. If anyone's inconsistent, it's this guy. But yeah, it's a good version of Leão. And comparing to his GP card, why do they always do this? So you got a winger who gets into Player of the Week, and they've nerfed his pace and his dribbling. Right, that makes sense. I mean, if he was abnormally slow and wasn't good at dribbling that night compared to what he normally is, fair enough, but how does that get him in Player of the Week? I don't know. But yeah, pace and dribbling are down a bit. But where they have boosted him, they have boosted his finishing, they have boosted his kicking power. Physical contact has had a big boost. This is quite a tall guy. I mean, I've got the roaming flank legend version, the first legend version they did of him, and mine's pretty similar to this in terms of being quick and good in the ball, but also having that physical contact over 80 and good balance. It's a hell of a combination on the game these days with the importance of physical contact. So that alone could make this a really appealing version of Rafael Leão, to be honest. That legend one I've got is better mainly with the end product. It's much better at passing, as you'd expect from a legend version of anyone. But yeah, this is a good version of Leão. If you don't really do too much passing, you don't need your wingers to have particularly great passing ability, then yeah, he's got pretty much everything else you need. He's quick, good on the ball, awareness and finishing. The physical contact and balance, like I say, is a great combination. And in fact, that unwavering form, I've got to say one more thing about it. It's only a matter of time before he gets nerfed down to standard or even inconsistent. So unwavering form might be another reason to maybe want this version of Leão, but I don't know. It just depends. Like I say, it depends what version you've got and what you're looking for. But yeah, well, he's got through passing, that helps with his passing, but it's still not going to be great. Heel trick and outside curler are nice ones to have. It's got long range curler. All they've really done with his skills, in fact, outside curler is the only skill they've added. So what did they remove to give him that? They took scissors feint away. Decent trade for me. So you got a bunch of skill moves there, as you would expect. The dribblers are always like this guy. Long range curler, good that he's got. It doesn't always have that. Like I say, outside curler is a nice addition along with heel trick. That's a nice one. And through passing will improve his passing, even though it still won't be good at all. But the finishing in the 80s, attacking when it's over 80, good on the ball, pace. Yes, they've nerfed his pace and dribbling, but to be fair, they're as high as they need to be. Dribbling is going past 90 with the game plan boost, as are speed and acceleration. And with the balance along with a bit of physical strength, yeah, I think on the whole, like I say, there have been a bunch of rough layouts previously that are, that are around the same level. There have been some slightly better trainable versions of Leão as well, including the current AC Milan pack. I don't know if that one's still available even, but the most recent AC Milan pack, the Leão version in that one is slightly better than this one, mainly because he's got more speed and dribbling, and it can be trained, of course, not just in terms of the attributes. You can put skills on them as well if you wanted to put more passing skills or whatever else. But yeah, if you don't have a good version of Leão, or if you don't have a version that's as good as this one, or if you have one that doesn't have the playing style you want, because a lot of people like prolific wingers, it could be a pretty nice version for you to pick up. He can play centre forward as well, but the awareness and finishing for me are too low for that. But yeah, as a prolific winger, playing wide left, cutting inside into his right foot, there are plenty of qualities here. Yes, the passing sucks. Yes, it's annoying they've taken a bit of pace and dribbling away from him. But he's got a pretty good selection of skills for a winger, for a right-footed left winger. Cutting off that left flank, long range curler there. Especially the dribbles, I think, will really like this guy. And with that big boost on his physical contact especially, I think that alone makes it a pretty appealing version of Leão. Of course, he's got his face gun there. So yeah, on the whole, one or two slight concerns and slight disappointments what they've done with the attributes and stuff. But yeah, on the whole, the strengths he's got, that boost to his physical contact, I think a lot of people will have a lot of fun with this guy. It could be a very good card for a lot of people. And now for the second time on eFootball, we have a build-up player of the week version of Bastoni. I've got the previous one. This one's better. So this is a nice second card for me because the one I've got isn't amazing, but he's pretty solid overall. And he's done pretty well for when I've used him. I'm not a fan of this guy's usual playing style. He's normally an extra front man. They've changed him to a build-up. An extra front man will wander forward quite a bit, and that's not what everyone likes. If you like that, fair enough. It's personal preference, but a lot of people don't. I don't. I like build-up best as a centre-back because they'll stay back. They're a bit more positionally disciplined. And yeah, like I say, there's only been one previous build-up version of Bastoni in Player of the Week, and this is an upgrade on that one. There's been a couple of extra frontman versions as well in Player of the Week of Bastoni, but this is, of all the Player of the Week versions of him, this one edges the rest. This is, I think, just about the best. In terms of trainable versions of him, we've had a Showtime one. Obviously, that's the best one. Always the case, or pretty much always. We've had a few that go to a similar level, but generally the better trainable versions of Bastoni are a bit better defensively, but they don't have the speed of this one. This version of Bastoni's got pretty good pace on him. So yeah, pros and cons, but obviously you can train the trainable versions. So if you've got a good version of him and you don't mind the extra frontman playing style, then you might not need this one, but certainly with the build-up playing style for a lot of people, this could be a very appealing version of him. It looks pretty decent with the attributes. Looking at his GP card, what have they done to his attributes? They've nerfed him a bit defensively from his GP card. They do that quite often with centre-backs and Player of the Week. But where they boosted him is only a slight nerf as well, and he's still going to hit 90 with the maximum game plan boost on awareness, tackling, and engagement. Aggression will get to 88. But where have they boosted him? They boosted his pace, as I mentioned. His kicking barrel's up a bit, nice. Physical contact, good, that's important. It's still not particularly high, but it's good that they boosted it. Stamina's up. They always put stamina up on Player of the Week, the centre-backs. And his lofted pass as well, 79, and that'll go past 80 with the game plan boost. Nice. So he's got deep, pretty nice passing for a centre-back. Not too bad on the ball. The defences are pretty solid. Pretty nice pace. he's still not that strong physically or aerially, but he has been boosted a bit with the physical contact, so better than normal, but I'd still like this to be a bit higher ideally. Unwavering form, which is great, of course. It's got aerial superiority, so he should be alright in the air. 6'3". What have they done skill wise? So they've added pinpoint crossing. I'm not sure how useful that is on a centre back, especially now he doesn't have the extra frontman playing style anymore. What else have they added here? Oh, they've added aerial superiority. Nice. So he doesn't normally have that. I didn't realise that. So he doesn't normally have aerial superiority. That surprises me, but they've added it, which is good. And they've added blocker. That's very good. Interesting. So we've got heading and aerial superiority, and then we've got man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. The only skill he's really lacking defensively is acrobatic clearance. Not the end of the world. Would be nice if he had that, but on the ball, one touch pass, pinpoint crossing, low lofted pass. And there's one downside here. I've just noticed the one skill that they've removed to make room for the new ones. They've taken away weighted pass. That's a bit of a shame. Weighted pass is a nice skill to have on a centre back. I'd rather have that than pinpoint crossing, certainly. But I guess if you put a nice cross in, and to be fair, he does have a nice cross on him, Bastoni. I've seen him put a few really nice crosses in. So I think you could make a pretty strong argument that he deserves that on his GP card, really, pinpoint crossing. But they've added it on this one. And sadly, they've removed weighted pass, which is a nice one to have. But it's not the end of the world because they have added some good ones. Blocker and aerial superiority, two big additions on a centre-back. So on the whole, you've got a very good selection of skills there. He's really solid defensively down the middle. Down the left, he's pretty decent, especially with that passing, like for a centre-back. The pace is decent. Yes, I would like their physical and aerial strength to be a bit higher, but they have boosted them. They're not too bad. Stamina's been boosted. That's nice as well. Unwavering form. All things considered, this is a solid centre-back. It's not an amazing one. It's not elite level. Like I said with a lot of these cards, if you've got a lot of legend cards, you know, he's not quite on the level of the kind of recent legend centre-backs, of course. But for a player of the week centre-back, he's solid. There's no glaring weakness there. He's got a good selection of skills. And that playing style for a lot of people, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, is an upgrade from extra frontman to build up. So, yeah, lots of positives. Got his face going, he's had that ages now. And yeah, that's a good solid centre-back. I think a lot of people will be quite keen to get that one. And I imagine quite a few people will be quite keen to get this card as well. This is a nice looking version of Julián Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. So regular playing style is deep line forward these days. Don't know how long it's been deep line forward for, but they've changed into goal poacher for this card. And again, we've had quite a few versions of Alvarez. There's been quite a few player of the week ones. There've been a couple of deep line forward player of the week cards in the regular player of the week and also Champions League. Both pretty similar when you compare them. The profile's not too different at all, really. So if you're happy with the deep line forward playing style, and if you've got one of those two, you might not need this one. It's been an attacking midfield and left midfield, both with whole player playing style. Obviously, got a slightly different profile, different playing style, and different positions. So those are the attributes kind of shuffled around a bit. They're quite different to this card. But with this playing style, we've had a bunch of player of the week versions with the goal poacher playing style. And this is the best, definitely the best. So if you like a goal poacher version of Alvarez, you're really in business with this card. Moving on to the trainable versions, there's been a Showtime, obviously, that's the best version of him. But outside of that one, this one's pretty much on a par with the best ones, even before he gets his boost. So let's just activate the boost and we'll see how good he does get on A form. And he's pretty nice. The one attribute really that's a little bit disappointing is the finishing. That's going to hit 88 with a maximum boost. Would be nice if we get to the 90 mark, but it could be worse. But certainly you look elsewhere with this guy as a goal poacher, and on A form especially. Has he got the pace? Yes. The speed and acceleration are both going to... In fact, speed's not quite going to hit 90 because, again, you're not quite at the 85 mark before the boost, so you're not going to get the +3, but you're still going to get to near enough 90. You're going to get to 89 on speed. The acceleration will hit 90. Kicking power over 90. Physical contact over 80, that looks like it's been boosted. Balance hitting 90. On the ball, very tidy for a goal poacher. Passing is decent for a goal poacher centre forward. Awareness is hitting 90. So, yeah, the finishing is a little bit on the low side. It would be nice if the speed hit 90, but it's only one away. Unwavering form. Let's see what they've done with his skills. So, skill-wise, what have they done? Taken away Marseille turn, dipping shot, and added long-range curler. Can't see what else they've added. What have they added? I'm not sure. We've got a good selection of skills here, though. We've got long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot, of course, the most important one. One touch pass and through passing, nice. Pinpoint crossing, fighting spirit. So yeah, what you'd expect really from Julián Alvarez. Long range curler, definitely a nice addition to his skills. And this is a really interesting card. This is a goal poacher. One thing with Alvarez, he doesn't always have the speed. They have boosted that, I think. I'm just looking now. Yeah, so from his GP card, if you train his GP card up auto allocation, where they boosted him, his speed's at a boost. On a goal poacher, that makes a difference. So that's an important one for them to have boosted. His physicals are up a bit as well. So that's how his physical contact is going to get past the 80 mark with the game plan boost. That's a really nice, like I was saying with Leão, with the way the game is these days, that does make a difference. His defending seems to have been boosted a bit. Yay. Passing, nice. That's had a bit of a boost. On the ball as well, a bit better than his GP cards. So, yeah, I think they've given him a nice boost on the whole. As a goal poacher, if you like a goal poacher, if you like Alvarez and you're keen to get a version of him with that playing style, I don't think you can ask for a great deal more. You could ask for maybe a little bit more speed, certainly a little bit more finishing, but on the whole, with the strengths he's got, the way they boosted him, and that skill set, I don't think anyone can really complain. That's an old face scan, needs updating a bit, but yeah, this is a good version of Alvarez. It probably comes down to the playing style as much as anything, but certainly with the attributes, the skills he's got and everything, unwavering form, and when this guy's on A form as a goal poacher, very, very nice card. I think a lot of people will be very keen to get this card. I am as well. Next we have Bradley Barcola from PSG. So we've had a couple of player versions of this guy as well. The oldest one's not quite as good as this. The most recent one's a bit closer, but I think this one does get the edge. This is the best version we've had of him in Player of the Week. Mainly the kicking power, on the ball ability and balance really give it the edge over the previous ones. There's been a Showtime version of him that's the best version again. You kind of expect that. But to be fair, this one's not a million miles away from even from the Showtime one. This is a pretty good version of him. There was one trainable version in a Legend pack as well. Might have been a Showtime pack. It's one of those ones. Again, kicking power and balance primarily. But on the whole, I think this one's slightly better than that trainable version. This is a good version of Barcola. Let's activate that booster. What booster are they giving him? Ball carrying. So dribbling type possession, speed, balance. Yeah, nice. This is a good looking version of Barcola. So where they boost him on his GP card? Kicking power, jumping. His physicals are up a bit. His passing's been boosted a bit. Nice. His finishing's been boosted. Nice. That's over 80 before the game plan boost. But there's a downside. Okay, so compared to his GP card on auto allocation, his on the ball attributes are lower, even on A form. That's just stupid. Yeah, I mean, he's still good on the ball, so he can't really complain too much. But I mean, again, he's a winger. Why is a winger going to be worse on the ball than he normally is when he's in Player of the Week? Someone make sense of that to me. I get that you're going to balance it out if you're going to boost him in other areas, but taking away points from one of the most important areas on a winger when he's in Player of the Week, yeah, it just annoys me. But yeah, for whatever reason, he's worse on the ball, even with the A form boost than his GP card is on auto allocation. But on the whole, like I say, he is still good on the ball. He has good awareness and finishing for a winger. The passing has been boosted. It's still not brilliant, but don't ask too much from with his passing. Good pace. Kicking power is okay. Would like a bit more on that ideally, but it could be worse. Balance likewise. And stamina really, but we got some real qualities on this guy: the pace and the ability on the ball. He can certainly score goals. So let's have a look at his skills. He's got long range curler, so he's a right footer. You're going to want this guy on the left wing. Clearly, that's his best position, cutting inside from the left flank, hitting those long range curlers. Could he play as a striker? Not really. The awareness and finishing a bit too low, like with a few cards that we looked at today. Right wing, he's not going to be crossing it. He's not got outside curler. Yeah, you definitely want this guy on the left wing. He's got long range curler. He's going to be a pretty good dribbler. First time shot as well. Just noticed that. Heel trick. What's new here? Yeah, first time shot is new. They're giving him pinpoint crossing. So 71 lofted pass and they're giving him pinpoint crossing. Excellent. So his crossing is going to be improved from terrible to not particularly good. Thanks for that. But yeah, first time shot. That will go alongside long range curler, and that'll be very useful coming off that left flank. Heel trick's a handy one. He's got a few skill moves. He's got soul control. Yeah, he's a good card. It's a very good version of Barcola. Slightly annoying that they've nerfed him on the ball, but he's still good enough on the ball, like I say. And they have given him a nice boost across the board in pretty much all other areas. So if you're a fan of this guy, if this is your kind of play, like a wide forward as a kind of inverted winger, he's definitely got a lot of qualities. Could be a pretty nice one for you. Of course, he's got his face scan, and I'm pretty sure he's got that cool hair that kind of animates in the game. It flaps around while he's running, which is cool. But yeah, on the whole, annoying they've nerfed him a little bit in that one area technically, but It's a good card on the whole. If he's your kind of player, I think this could be a very interesting card to pick up. It's one of the best, if not the best version. Well, it's not the best because the Showtime's the best, but it's not a million miles away even from that one. This is a good version of Barcola. And now we've got another Vinny Player of the Week card. We've had a few of those. So he's normally a roaming flank. We've got another prolific winger version. It's not the first Player of the Week prolific winger version we've had of Vinny. It's a good one though. If you look at all the Player of the Week versions of Vinny, the overall ratings kind of fluctuate a little bit. And the stats get kind of shuffled around a little bit as well. Sometimes better here, better there. But on the whole, they're all fairly similar really. And this is another good one really. The two centre forward versions we've had are the best at centre forward. That goes without saying. They've got the awareness and the finishing for it. You could still get away with this guy as a centre forward, but awareness and finishing mid-80s, a bit on the low side for me. There have been a few who got slightly better passing than this one, but there's only been one previous one that I can see that's got balance as good as this. So we got a Vinny card with very good balance to go alongside the fact he's great on the ball. That's a real big plus, that is. It's going to go, your balance is going past 90 with the game plan boost. In terms of the skills, some previous versions have got first time shot, a one-touch pass. There's one that's a super sub. This one's been given a long range curler, and that's a big plus. So like I was saying with Barcola, this guy, obviously we know where Vinny's going to be best. You can play him as a centre forward, but playing him wide left as a wide left forward, especially with that prolific winger playing style, which a lot of people will be happy about, cutting it onto his right foot, having long range curler is a difference maker. That's a great addition. Have they added anything else? Yeah, they've added fighting spirit, nice. And I think cut behind and turn is new. Cool. So yeah, on the whole, good session skills. They've got through passing, he's already got that. Outside curve and heel trigger, nice. He's got the ball roll double touch as well, of course. There's a lot to be said for this card. If you like a wide forward with pace, dribbling, you can come inside and score goals. He's very much that type of a player, and he's a pretty good one. Be careful with the passing. Again, like with Barcola and Leão, that's the one downside. Don't ask too much when it comes to passing the ball. But outside of that, on the ball, yep. Pace, yep. Awareness and finishing, absolutely. Balance has been improved, so that's a new plus that you don't always get with Vinny. And of course, long range curler. So looking very good. Comparing it to his GP card, and in fact comparing it to trainable versions, I forgot to look at the trainables. So yeah, he's up there with the best, to be honest. Outside of the Showtime version, again, Showtime version of him is obviously the best version, but the rest of his trainables, this one compares pretty well, to be honest. It's up there with the better ones. It's one of these cards where compared to, you look at the trainable versions of them, the better trainable versions, they tend to be a bit better on the ball, with a bit more pace, but they don't tend to have the finishing as well as the balance. So pros and cons, and of course you can train the trainable versions. But again though, dribbling has been nerfed from his GP card, so annoying. Dribbling is the one thing I want to do with Vinny Jr. His GP card and auto allocation is better at dribbling. Doesn't make sense to me, but whatever, what do I know? Pace as well is down a bit. But where would they boost him? Because they have boosted him elsewhere. They boosted his lofted pass, finishing. It did look like they boosted that. So finishing's up a bit, kicking power's up a bit as well. His physicals are up a bit, and like as I mentioned, his balance is a nice boost. So yeah, on the whole, yes, they've nerfed him a bit with his dribbling, but 90 before your game plan boost, I think you can live with that. It's still great, and even with the pace being nerfed a bit, you're over 90 with both of those before your game plan boost. So I think if you're going to nerf a few attributes, yes, they're probably the last attributes you think they should logically nerf, but they're probably the ones you can afford to nerf if you're going to boost them elsewhere. So ultimately, you've got a pretty nice second version of Vinny here. Bit of a stretch as a centre forward with the awareness and finishing, in my opinion, but you can certainly still get away with it. You could do a lot of damage as a centre forward, although he doesn't have first time shot. But wide left, prolific winger especially, you can play him left midfield without an active playing style, but as a wide left forward with the prolific winger playing style active, with all the strengths he's got, his unwavering form as well, this is a card that could do a lot of damage for you. I think long range curler, just that alone could be a real difference maker with this version of Vinny, but the playing style might be a big plus for you as well. The balance probably is as well. His finishing's had a nice boost. There's a lot to be said for this Vinny card, so similar level to a lot of previous versions of him. It's not necessarily the best version of him that we've had, but there are plenty of reasons why this would be a very good card for a lot of people. So yeah, if the playing style suits you, you like the changes they made to him, the balance going up and so on. Yeah, this could be a really, really nice Vinny card for a lot of people. And we finish up with Martin Ødegaard. So again, we've had a bunch of Player of the Week versions and trainable versions of Ødegaard. You're going to get that in these Player of the Week packs, I guess, with all the high-rated players. They're always likely to be players that we've had versions of in the past. So this version of Ødegaard is a box-to-box, and normally an orchestrator. So they made him a box-to-box this time. The one thing with this Ødegaard card is he's quicker than he normally is. He's got more pace than he normally does, but he's not quite got the technicals he normally does. But he's still got enough technically. So this for me is a pretty interesting looking version of Ødegaard. Box to box, not necessarily the best playing style for him in my opinion. Again, they've obviously based this on the way he played. If he plays as a box to box, that's fair enough, but just in terms of how you're going to use him in game and what he's going to be like to use in game, I'm not sure box to box is the play style that many people would want on Ødegaard. But interestingly, they've put his weaker foot usage up one, I think. I guess it must normally be never, because it's gone up by 1 on eFootball Hub. So yeah, weaker foot usage is a bit more often, but he's still never going to use it. And yeah, so looking at previous player of the week cards, then like I say, the difference really generally between this version of Ødegaard and previous ones, you've got more pace, not quite so much technical. So the best 2 player of the week cards of Adam are orchestrators. They've got more ball control, more low pass, more finishing. But this one's got speed and acceleration over those versions. We've had a couple of creative playmaker versions that are slightly better on the ball, but this one overall is better. It's interesting looking through the trainables. So we've had a Showtime one. The Showtime version, I'm not sure it's necessarily better. So you look at the Showtime version of Ødegaard, on the ball, the technicals, yes, on auto allocation, clearly better, but much slower than this one. If you try to match the pace of this card on that Showtime one, you end up losing quite a few points from elsewhere, and you start to look at this one, I think this one's a bit better. So yeah, depending on what you prioritize, if you don't really care about the pace, you could well say that Showtime one is better. It probably is, but if you feel like the technicals at this level that we've got on this player of the week card are high enough, then looking at the pace advantage of this one, you might say this one's actually better than the Showtime one in that respect. So it depends which way you look at it. So yeah, on the whole, pretty comparable in certain ways to the Showtime version. So it's a good version of Ødegaard, this one. Looking at the other trainable versions of them, the better ones, there's one from a legend pack, I think like English League midfielders or something. It's got like a purple background. And one in the most recent Arsenal pack as well, both orchestrators. You can train both those cards to be pretty similar to this one. If you take some points away from the technicals and you beef up his speed and acceleration, you can't make them quite as quick as this one, but you can make them pretty comparable. So those 2 versions, including like I say, the most recent Arsenal pack, I don't think that's still available, not certain, but yeah, you can make them pretty similar to this one, those 2. So if you don't mind the orchestrated playing style as opposed to box, then if you've got one of those 2, you might be happy with those instead of this one. There was also the Classic 10 version, but with that playing style, it's just a completely different style of play. Very hard to compare. And again, you can match the technicals of this card on that Classic 10 one, but not the pace. It just comes down to the play style primarily, though, because the Classic 10 is way different to, apart from whole player, it's way different to any other play style really. But yeah, like I say, it's all about having more pace and not quite so much technical. They have nerfed his passing from his GP card. Very annoying on the type of player Ødegaard is, but like I say, it is still high enough. And they have boosted his finishing, they've boosted attacking awareness, they've boosted his physicals, they've boosted his balance a bit, and of course his pace has had a really nice boost. So yeah, this is a very interesting looking version of Ødegaard. I think it's one of the better versions of him that we've had in the game. When you look at all the previous ones, you can even compare it to the Showtime, you can compare it to the best previous player of the week cards. Unless you really like the orchestrated playing style, this is right up there, I think, as one of the best versions of Ødegaard that we've had. Looking at his skills as well, what have they done with his skills? They've given him double touch. I guess he did a double touch, I didn't see the game. Soul control, and one touch pass, which he didn't already have. I always forget he doesn't have one touch pass usually, so that's a good addition. One touch pass, very good addition. Nothing defensively, so as a box to box, as a centre mid, is that the way you're going to play him, going box to box? Weak defensively, weak physically, no defensive skills. Yeah, I think you're crazy playing him there personally. This might be a version of Ødegaard where he suddenly becomes usable as a wide midfielder. If you play him as a right midfielder, that box-to-box playing style will be active. He'll get up and down a lot. He's got pretty decent stamina, so could be an interesting one as a box-to-box right midfielder. You could play him as a wide forward on the right, as an inverted winger. He will not have an active playing style there. He's definitely got the awareness. He's got the ability technically all the way down here, down to the finish, including the finishing, which will hit 80 with the game plan boost. So yes, he's not going to be the quickest, but certainly compared to other versions of Ødegaard, this could be possibly the most usable version of Ødegaard as a right wing forward. That could be an interesting option for you. He doesn't have long range curler, but he's got long range shooting and first time shot, and he can certainly pass and cross. So yeah, that could be an option for you. But I think most people would probably still see him as an attacking midfielder. I think attacking midfielder is probably the most natural fit for him. And if you're playing him in that kind of a role, more pace than he normally has, but still strong everywhere else, still strong on the ball, passing, finishing, good, really good attacking awareness. He won't have an active playing style as an attacking midfielder, but with that attacking awareness well into the 80s, he should make enough attacking ones. I think he could be pretty effective there. So, yeah, he's got a slightly different profile to the previous versions of him. Yes, they've taken away some points from the left, but I think you can certainly afford to lose those points and to have that significant boost on his pace compared to other versions of him. I think for a lot of people, maybe not for everyone, and it might depend on playing style as well, but I think for a lot of people, this could be a very, very appealing version of Ødegaard. There's a lot to be said from lots of qualities. He's got plenty of end product, and I would say there's more than one way you can use him compared to other versions, with the fact that he's a bit quicker and more mobile than he normally is. And he's got unwavering form, of course, as well, and he's got his face scan, of course. So yeah, might come down to the playing style, and you might not care about the pace. You might prefer the technicals, in which case maybe this card doesn't excite you too much. But if you think he's still high enough down that left column, and you like the fact he's got a bit more pace, then yeah, this version of Ødegaard could be a really, really appealing card to a lot of people, I think. So there is your Champions League Player of the Week pack. I think there's some decent cards in there. It just comes down to what you really want from a player, obviously. For example, Cuadrado. Not everybody wants a cross specialist who's just going to get up and down the touchline putting crosses in, but if you want that, he's pretty handy. He's one of the lower rated ones, but he's a handy one. Justin Bijlow, especially on A form, really, really solid looking keeper. I think that's a good goalkeeper card, that. Hatate, not the strongest card in the pack by a stretch, but he can pass the ball. He's certainly decent. He could do a job for a lot of people. Harvey Elliott might not be the kind of profile you want in Elliott, the way they've made him more balanced as a centre midfielder, giving him a bit more defensive ability and so on, but he's certainly still very capable going forward. It could be a very nice version of Elliott for a lot of people. García, not a terrible card, but I don't think he's that great in any position, to be honest. Bastoni, very solid centre back, build up playing style for a lot of people. Not everyone, but for a lot of people, that'll be an upgrade to playing style. Blocker and aerial superiority added to his skills as well, so that could be a very nice centre back card for a lot of people. Leão, I'm not sure how many people really need another version of Leão, but maybe the playing style could be appealing for you. The fact they beefed up his physical contact quite a lot. There's plenty to be said for this Rafael Leão card. Even if you've got a good version already, it might appeal to you. It's a good card. Bradley Barcola with his booster, that's a really good version of him. Very much, similar to Vinícius Júnior, really. You've got two cards here as a left wing forward. Pace, good on the ball, can be very, very. If that's your type of player, it's obvious what type of player they are. If that suits you, that profile they've got, those two cards are very good. Ødegaard, as we just looked at, could be a very good version of Ødegaard for a lot of people. And then Julián Alvarez, obviously, goal poacher, centre forward version of him, looks very, very, very interesting indeed. So there are some pretty nice cards in there. I think it's better than the regular Player of the Week pack, as tends to be the case with these Champions League packs. So yeah, it's not too bad on the whole. So yeah, there you go. As I mentioned in the regular Player of the Week pack earlier, I'm going to do a separate video reviewing the Tsubasa free players. That video will be going live sometime over the next few days. I am going to hopefully do a stream. Might be Monday, or it might even be tomorrow. This is I'm speaking on Thursday, depending what day you watch this. So Friday, sometime after lunch, might well be a stream. If it's not Friday, then I'll try to do on Monday. But I'll post in the Discord and maybe on the community tab, let you guys know when that's going to be. But there will be a stream hopefully over the next few days. Do a few spins, play a few matches, and you can laugh at how terrible my form is if it's as bad as it was last time. But yeah, as for this one, thank you as always for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you found this useful. Let me know who you've spun. Let me know who you want to spin, what you think of the pack. And I'll be seeing you soon either for a live stream or for the Tsubasa Players review. So cheers for watching. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.